Hi YouTube, it's good to be back for my next video. This is vlog number 7. And I'm just going to be going over 6 things that I loved about my wedding and then 6 things that I wish I would have done differently for next time. Even though there won't be a next time, even if I had to do it over again, or if I wanted to do it over again, these are the things that I would like. But again, my day was absolutely perfect, everything I ever dreamed of. Just if I had to give you things that I would do differently, these are going to be them. And I'm sure there's more, but this is just what I came up with for this video. And so if you want to see more videos like this, just let me know. But these are the things that I loved and the things that I would have done differently. So first I'm going to start with the things that I loved. First touch. It was absolutely perfect. I didn't want to spoil the, oh, let me see, like, let me see you like dressed and everything. Like I wanted to save that for when I walked down the aisle and he was at the front of the altar. So I just wanted to save that, but I did want to do something where we did get to, you know, hear each other's voice and we wrote each other letters. I got these little letters off of Etsy and it was like to my husband or to my future husband and to my future wife. And those were just really sweet. I got to write that the night before and just the things that I wanted him to hear right before we were pronounced husband and wife. And so those notes were super cool to read to each other and just be able to pray together before we enter that moment of like, wow, like, oh my gosh, we're almost husband and wife. So that was a really cool moment. I would like suggest that if you are a bride and you're thinking of, should I do a first touch? Should I do a first look? First looks are very cool and I would imagine they are amazing, but I've never had one and won't ever have one. So it's all a personal preference. I wouldn't want a first look, but that's just me. So you may be like, oh, I want a first look. You go for it, girl, you know? Do you. But I absolutely loved having a first look and a first touch. And if I'm looking down at all, if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my iPad. I would just have a list of the things that are on my yes and my no list. So this is what I'm looking at. My next thing that I loved was I loved having a worship ceremony. I just felt the Holy Spirit was in our ceremony and he clearly was. The Holy Spirit was there and I am just so thankful that we did that. I was going back and forth because I'm like, well, that's going to make it longer. The guests aren't going to enjoy the ceremony as much. Like it's just going to drag it on. But honestly, it was the perfect length. I think I asked like one of the guests, I was like, how long was our ceremony? Because obviously I didn't have like a clock or a timer on it or anything. And I'm sure from videos when we go back and look, we'll be able to tell, but they were like around 35-ish minutes, which isn't that long. I mean, I have been to weddings that they're like 50 minutes long and you're like, when is this over? Like you don't want guests to, like I didn't want my guests to feel like that. So I was like, do I want to do a worship? But I was like, hold on, this is my day. This is what I want. And so I was like, okay, so I want to do a worship experience. Emmaus was like, can we have a band? I was like, of course, like let's do it. So we got a saxophone player. He was amazing, a pianist, and then one of our friends that is a singer. She's amazing, so talented. Really cool experience. They did phenomenal, and the songs maybe lasted 10 minutes. We did 2 songs. We did The Blessing and then What a Beautiful Name. 2 of the most, oh my gosh, just like holy songs. It was perfect. So I love doing those 2 songs. It was really amazing. My next thing that I loved was I loved having a first look with my dad and my brother. I wanted them to feel special on my day because if I wouldn't have seen them before I did my first touch with Emmaus, they wouldn't have saw me until I was ready to walk down the aisle and my dad was holding my arm. So I just wanted them to feel like they had a special part in my day and I wanted them to see me before everyone else. They've been two of my biggest supporters and I just felt like I was like, I need to have a first look with them. So they came to the bridal suite and we kind of like exchanged wedding gifts. It was just a really sweet moment. So I'm really glad I did that. Even if you want to just do it with your dad or even if you want to just do it with your brother, I highly suggest do both or one or the other. So super cool. Love doing that. I loved having one of my family members do my flowers. We had multiple meetings. We talked about what kind of flowers I wanted, and it was just perfect. It was more like personable, and I felt like I really got to tell her what I want. And if I didn't like something for my bridal portrait, I was like, "Ooh, I don't like that flower. Can you do this one instead?" So it was just really, it was a really cool moment that we got to experience together, and she got to sort of have an insight of my day, even though she's my second cousin. So it was a really cool, and I know flowers can be outrageously expensive. The prices that I've seen on some of them, oh my goodness, for the actual flowers, and then for you to put the flowers together, like, it's thousands. And when you're looking at prices for how much you want to spend on your wedding, flowers were just not one of my focal points that I wanted to spend a lot on. And I know that's a personal preference. Everyone wants to spend different amounts on different things. Some people don't want a photographer. Some people don't want a band, and those things cost money. So it was just really cool that I got to have my second cousin be able to do my flowers. She did a really good job, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. So getting a family member to do your florals to save you some money, that might be a route that you choose. Next, this is gonna sound cliche, but I am so excited that I have a wedding video coming. I love the pictures, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you have a wedding video, and I've watched many wedding videos, you're just able to relive that moment like you were there in that moment. The pictures they're beautiful and everything, but you get more captured through a video than you do pictures. You get the live sounds, you get maybe the speeches during the first, during the speeches time, whoever you pick for your speeches. I picked my maid of honor, and Emmaus picked his best man, and then we did siblings. And so it was really special, and I can't wait to go back and listen to those. So getting a wedding video, I highly recommend. And if you are looking for a videographer or photography, make sure to check out Silver Fox Productions. It's actually Emmaus and I's company. It's a videography company, but we do photography on the side. So to go check out our Instagram, I will tag it in the description box below. But I would highly suggest getting a wedding video. And if you do not decide to go with us, I would get one. I absolutely loved, and I wanted to do this, and I was like, crossing my fingers that we would have time, is going around to each table in your reception and just speaking to them. It's that small time frame that you get to do it, and it's not that much time to speak to everyone, but at least you made the thought to do it. I think we made it to all the tables. We had 18 tables. We made it to 16 of them. And we maybe stayed 2 minutes at each table, but it was just good. Thank them for coming. Hope they're having a good time. Just so good to see you. And you be able to see who came to your wedding, because sometimes if you're caught up in the moment, you may not remember who's at what table, or if this person didn't show up, or they moved tables, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're sitting with these people, I didn't know you were friends. So it's just really cool. I thought it was a cool thing to do it together, because some of my dad's side of the family hadn't met Emmaus because they lived up north and they just haven't made it down. So he was able to meet them with me. So I thought that was really cool. So definitely doing it together and going around to each table during reception, I think that is a really good thing to incorporate into your reception, because then you show your guest how you are very much appreciative of them being there, and it's just an all-around good experience. So I highly recommend going around and looking at just spending time with all of your guests before your dancing or your cake cutting or whatever starts. So that's the last thing that I absolutely loved about my wedding. I know there's millions of other things that I loved, but those are the top 6 that if you are planning a wedding, you may want to think about having these or doing these. The 6 things that I would have done differently, again, my day was absolutely perfect. It's everything I ever wanted. But if I were to tell you some things that I wanted, these would be the things. Number 1 is I would have a longer time frame for the photographer and videographer to be there. Ours showed up at 2 p.m., which is when they were scheduled, of course, but I wish they would have been able to capture before then. Even if it was an hour, I don't think any more than an hour would have been necessary, just because I wouldn't have had my hair or makeup done, and I don't want to be filmed on my wedding day without my hair and makeup done. So just 1 p.m. I would say would be one of the things that I would have liked. It just comes with the price point. I mean, you got to make like cuts where you can, because weddings get expensive. And so that's one of the things we were like, let's just start at 2 and we'll go until 9. And so it was a 7-hour time frame. If you're looking at getting a videographer, some of them come in 6 or 7 hour increments, but then you add on hours, and that adds on money because they are there for longer. So that's one of the things that I would have wanted, but you know, that's okay, they don't have it. So the next thing is, I wish I would have had more time for just me and Emmaus to have couple photos. It was like the last 10 minutes of the cocktail hour, me and Emmaus were able to have photos, but I just wish we would have had more time. That is like the one time, and the sun was going down, so that's like the one time that we have pictures of us dressed as nice as we can, and on our best looking days was our wedding day, and we didn't get that many pictures of couple pictures of just us two. Now I understand there's dancing ones, there's ones in the ceremony of us, but just like standing there like smiling at the camera, like we didn't get any of those, and I wish we would have. So maybe having more time for photos. I know that's always up for debate, because you're like, ooh, I don't want to have my guests like sitting around with the bride and groom not there. But again, these are the pictures that you're gonna have, and so you kind of have to find a balance between making your guest as happy as they can be and getting enough pictures for your wedding. So or from your wedding that you want. The third thing is, I wish we would have practiced our first dance more. There was just so much going on that last week before the wedding, is we didn't practice our first dance but maybe one time, and it was like in the kitchen. Like it wasn't even like, you know, it wasn't choreographed or anything like that. So I don't know if I would have wanted to go to a dance class or just like practice in the kitchen more. The next thing is, I did not even get a piece of cake from our wedding. I think I got a cupcake, but I was like, I don't want to eat a cupcake. And we had a donut wall, which is one of the things I loved. Highly recommend making a donut wall, buying a donut wall, having donuts. We had duck donuts. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina, so we just got donuts from Charlotte, and they were so good. Oh my goodness, so worth it. But I didn't have any cake, and I just wish I would have, because the only cake that I have was the one stuffed in my mouth during the cake cutting. So I just wish I would have gotten a piece of cake. Not necessarily I would have eaten all of it, but I wish I would have had just a little bit, because those are always good. Next, number 5, I wish we would have done a live painter. I know that may sound a little cheesy or a little weird, but I actually just saw it, somebody posted on Instagram. It was a few days ago, and it was like, make sure you're booking a live painter like for your wedding. And I'm like, what's a live painter? So I kind of did some research, and basically this woman comes to your wedding, sets up her paint, sets up her canvas, and just starts painting away, whether you want it during your first dance or if you want it after your ceremony. She literally paints it, and so it's like something you can hang in your place. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, I didn't even know that existed. So if I were to do it again, which I'm not going to, I would get a live painter, because that's so cool to me. And next, or the last thing is, I wish we had a photo booth. There was no place for people to take pictures other than like at their seat and like outside. I wish we would have had something that said like the Vanderbilts, or like a wall that said it, or something like that, where people could feel like they could take pictures, and not that like me or Emmaus had to be in them, but like for friends or family or people to take pictures with, just like standing up, you know. So I wish we would have done a photo booth. I know the neon light, you know, all that costs money, and like, when would we ever use the neon light? Like post-wedding? And that's why I didn't go with the neon light. I looked up the prices. It was like $200. I was like, I'm not gonna use this like after the wedding. Like, there's no way I'm gonna pay this much money. So we didn't do the neon light. I kind of wish we would have, but again, like, where would we put it? So a photo booth or something with like a wall, maybe like a green, like fake grass wall. I don't know, those are super cute. So those are the 6 things that I loved about my wedding and 6 things that I would have done differently. I hope you guys enjoyed the wedding content, and if you want to see more wedding content, maybe how I wedding planned in 5 months or some other tips that I have for you guys, just let me know in the comments down below. I would love to share. I'm always looking to share with others about what I did because I'm always open to learn. So maybe some of you guys are too. So just let me know in the comments what y'all want to see. And thank you guys so much for just supporting me along this YouTube journey. And make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another video. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.